hopefully you've already been thinking about some of these passages as God speaks to us about this gift of rest. So let me read to you from the end of Mark 2 and the beginning of Mark 3. And before we do that, let me tell you a secret. The chapters and the verses in the Bible, those are just something that someone came up with along the way so that we can know what we were talking about. Those aren't actually part of the Scripture. And so when you get to the end of chapter 2 in Mark, the story may very well continue in the next verse in the beginning of chapter 3. And so don't just think the story's done because you end a chapter. So we're going to see here, we're going to read the end of chapter 2, the beginning of chapter 3, and realize that these two stories are actually both about the same thing. And that's the idea of Sabbath, or the rest that God has instructed us to take. The Sabbath day for Jews at that time was the seventh day of the week, or Saturday, and they had very strict rules about how you were supposed to practice Sabbath. And so keep that in mind, and let's read from Mark chapter 2. One Sabbath day, or one Saturday, as Jesus was walking through some grain fields, his disciples began breaking off heads of grain to eat. But the Pharisees said to Jesus, "Look, why are they breaking the law by harvesting grain on the Sabbath?" Jesus said to them, "Haven't you read in the Scriptures what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He went into the house of God during the days when Abiathar was high priest, and David broke the law by eating the sacred loaves of bread that only the priests are allowed to eat. David also gave some to his companions." Then Jesus said to them, "The Sabbath was made to meet the needs of people, and not people to meet the requirements of the Sabbath. And so, the Son of Man is Lord, even over the Sabbath." Jesus went into the synagogue again and noticed a man with a deformed hand. Since it was the Sabbath, Jesus' enemies watched him closely to see if he healed the man's hand. If he did, they planned to accuse him of working on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the deformed hand, "Come and stand in front of everyone." Then he turned to his critics and asked, "Does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath? Or is it a day for doing evil? Is this a day to save life or to destroy it?" But they would not answer him. He looked around at them and was them angrily and was deeply saddened by their hard hearts. Then he said to the man, "Hold out your hand." And so the man held out his hand, and it was restored. And at once the Pharisees went away and met with supporters of Herod to plot how to kill Jesus. You get the picture that Sabbath was a pretty big deal to people at Jesus' time. They had rules, they had regulations, they had instructions. In fact, you can find even now the categories of rules. There's 39 different categories of things that you're not allowed to do on the Sabbath. And they go from everything from walking too far, to building a fire, to harvesting grain like the disciples were doing, to healing. These were all things that were against the understanding that the Jewish leaders of Jesus' time, it was against their understanding of what the law was about. Because if you remember the Ten Commandments, right? Honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. It's one of the Ten Commandments. And so it was a big deal for Jews in Jesus' day. But the thing is, and this was often the case in Jesus' time, they missed the point of what the whole rule was about. And so if you're following along in your sermon notes, in your bulletin, this is the first sermon note. Sabbath rest is a commandment. But the reason God commands is because we need it. This is not just some arbitrary instruction that God said, "You know what? This will really mess up their week. I know how to throw a kink and all this stuff. I'm going to tell them they can't work one day." It wasn't God's desire to manipulate us or to force something on us. Instead, it is the understanding of the one who created us, the one who knows us very deeply and very intimately, the one who recognizes our needs. It's God's ability to say, "I see you. I see what you need, and I'm going to give it to you as a commandment because I don't think you're going to do it otherwise." honest, we struggle to be people who take time to rest. All right, so this is your second sermon note. The Pharisees developed extensive rules about how to rest, but they missed the point that rest is meant to restore us, body and soul. And so when they're telling Jesus that, well, look, your disciples shouldn't eat, they shouldn't pick these heads of grain and eat them, they should just be hungry because it's the Sabbath. It's missing the whole point of what Sabbath is about. Sabbath is about a time to restore our bodies, to restore our spirits, and not being allowed to eat is kind of opposite of that. So Jesus points out another time in their history with King David. He went with some of the people who were with him, and they went into the place where God's presence was. It was the tabernacle at that point. It was a big old tent where they worshipped. They hadn't built a temple yet. He went into this tabernacle, and he said, do you have any food? And the priest said, well, the only thing we've got is this holy bread. David said, okay, well, we'll eat it. Because there's an understanding that God is not just trying to take from us. God is interested in giving back to us. The Sabbath was made for people. We weren't made for the Sabbath. Jesus was in trouble because he was not resting correctly. But he understood the purpose of rest. And this is Jesus' quote there at the end of Mark 2. The Sabbath was made to meet the needs of people, not people to meet the requirements of the Sabbath. I think if we got this idea in our heads, our entire understanding of what it means to follow God would be changed. The instructions that God gives us, they're not just arbitrary rules God wants us to follow because, well, that's what we do. Instead, they are recognitions by the one who put this world in order, the one who made us, the one who shaped us, the one who made everything around us, who knows how it best works. God knows how this life best works. And if we're following the instructions God gives us, we're going to find that there is abundant life to be had in following Sabbath, as well as the rest of the commands and instructions that God has for us. I want to read to you from Exodus chapter 16. This is the story of manna. Manna was food that God sent from heaven. Manna literally means in Hebrew, what is this? Because they had no clue what this stuff was. But it was food that God sent from heaven. And each morning they collected it like dew from the ground. Moses told them, this is what the Lord commanded. Tomorrow will be a day of complete rest, the holy Sabbath day set apart from the Lord. So, this is Friday, bake or boil as much as you want today and set aside what is left for tomorrow. So, they put some aside until morning, just as Moses had commanded. And in the morning, the leftover food was wholesome and good, without maggots or odor. Moses said, eat this food today, for today is a Sabbath day dedicated to the Lord. There will be no food on the ground today. You may gather the food for 6 days, but the seventh day is the Sabbath, and there will be no food. Some of the people went out anyway on the seventh day, but they found no food. The Lord asked Moses, how long will these people refuse to obey my instructions and commands? They must realize that the Sabbath is the Lord's gift to you. That is why God gives you a 2-day supply on the 6th day, so that there will be enough for the Sabbath for 2 days. On the Sabbath day, you must each stay in your place. Do not go out and pick up food on the 7th day. So the people did not gather any food on the 7th day. Boy, it's a struggle, isn't it? I mean, we got God literally providing food from heaven and instructing people, hey, look, here is a gift. I've got a gift for you. I've got a present. It's called rest. I want you to take it, and I want you to enjoy it. You don't need to go out and do any work. What you've collected the day before will suffice. Just be still and enjoy. So, sun goes down. People wake up the next morning, and what do? They say, oh, we're going to rest. We're going to make this day holy. No, they say, we got to get to work. What can we do? Let's go see if we can collect manna. And then they go out and they start looking, and there's none there. And the reason is this: God wants us to rest because God knows we need it. This is God's gift for us as it was for them. But like the Israelites, we struggle to accept this gift. Instead, we value busyness. I don't know if any of you have noticed this, but it's come to be the accepted best option for the answer of the question, how are you doing? The answer is what? Good. Or I'm fine. Or I'm busy. I mean, honestly, I think I hear that more than I hear good or fine. Or maybe it's both. It's fine, I'm busy. Or good, I'm busy. And there's value in busy. We think busy is the right answer. We want to appear busy. We want to show people around us that we're busy. I know some folks who find ways to be busy just because they think that's what they're supposed to do, is to be busy. Our society has given a real high premium to being busy. I've been working really hard over the last few weeks not to say that. Because I'll be talking with people and they'll say, oh, I'm really busy. And my initial response is, oh yeah, me too. Whether I'm busy or not. Doesn't have anything to do with whether I'm busy. It has to do with the fact that that's the right answer. We're supposed to be busy. That's not God's desire for us. Certainly, lives are to be full. We have all been given charges to keep, whether that's family or work or any of a number of other things that fill our lives. But to say that we are too busy to rest is to say that we know better than God how we need to spend our days. And so, my challenge for us is to begin to step aside from valuing busy and saying, you know what? God commanded rest because God knows we need rest, and I'm gonna make time for that. Now, it wasn't too long ago, and I'm sure some of us remember this, when you didn't have much of a choice but to rest on Sunday, right? I mean, everything was closed. You couldn't do anything. There were no activities. You pretty much had to rest. That's not the case anymore. You could be any of a number of places this morning. So if we are going to be people who rest, we have to make that time sacred, make it holy, and set it apart to God. We think that more work or more busyness leads to more life. But the reality is that when we go out anyway on the seventh day, and that's what people did most of this time, we drain ourselves both body and soul. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had this happen to you. Sometimes we just keep going and going and going until we make ourselves sick. Have y'all ever done this? And that's kind of God's way of saying, all right, look, you're going to have to rest. Whether you're going to take a Sabbath or not, I will make you be still. You may be miserable, but you will be still. Because we need that rest. And if we are going to run 7 days a week, as many hours a day as we can possibly fit in, we will eventually get to that point where our bodies just quit on us. Our souls are the same way. The more we are busy, the less time we take to simply allow God to feed our souls and fill us up. And so we need to begin to develop this practice of resting. Here's the thing that differs in our time from Jesus' time. Our work is not always physical labor. And the flip side of that means that our rest is not always physical rest. For some people whose work is very physical, whatever your resting activity is probably going to be pretty physical rest, just because that's what your body needs. But if your work is sitting at a computer, your rest may very well be you need to go out and run a mile in order to get your blood pressure up, your heart rate up, in order to sweat a little bit and feel like you're finding some rest for your soul and allowing your body to go. In Jesus' day, pretty much everybody's work was physical. So rest was always going to be physical. So what we need to be figuring out is, what is the rest which restores our souls? What is that which gives us a breath of fresh air kind of deep within our being? And that's going to look different for each person. And so while the Pharisees in Jesus' day had all these rules, they missed the fact that rest is not going to be the same for each person, because our work is different. Our busyness is different. And what restores us is different. So, how many of y'all see this and you see rest? Bin of Legos. Bin of Legos? Anybody see rest in that? Isaiah, you see rest in a bin of Legos? Yeah, Isaiah loves Legos. Anybody else? Amanda? I see this and I think, oh my gosh, I got a mess to clean up. So some people, this is rest. Some people, this is work. I know the sound of this bin being dumped over. I can hear it anywhere in my house. What about this? Eric? Is that rest?
Yes.
This looks great to me except for the fishing pole. Like being out in the water, yeah, fish, that makes me think I might have to clean something or delay it, or not my bag. Yeah, this is more me. Anybody else canoe out on the water? Does this look like rest? A couple of y'all. How about this? Reading a book. Got restful. A few more hands. How about this? Conversation, cup of coffee, friends. That look like rest. I'm not sure how you get your teeth that white. That's another story. We could go through, and I could put another dozen pictures up here, and probably we would find something that you would say, oh, that looks more like rest for me. Horseback riding. There's so many different things that feed our souls. The challenge is that we have got to find the time to do it. There's a reason that the first thing in Scripture that is called holy, the very first thing that is ever called holy, is the Sabbath day. God sets it apart in Genesis 2 and says this day is holy. Because if we don't make the time to rest holy, then everything else is going to crowd in on it and it's going to push it out. And so this is your final sermon note here. We need to schedule times for those things which give rest to our souls and hold that time as sacred. Otherwise, we'll be overwhelmed by busyness. So what I want you to do, whether it is right now or whether it is this afternoon or tomorrow, I want you to take out your calendar. My calendar is on my phone. And I want you to open it up, and I want you to say, okay, I've got some time on Wednesday. I'm going to schedule that as Sabbath, and then I want you to create an appointment, and I want you to block off that time so that when your boss calls and says, hey, I need you for something Wednesday at 5, you can take out your calendar and say, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm already scheduled. I'm busy then. Because we like being busy, right? I'm busy then. That is the only way that you will make this time sacred, is if you block it off. Now, the Sabbath day is a day. In Jewish practice, it was sundown to sundown, sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. In general, in the church, we've talked about Sabbath as being Sunday. But Paul is actually pretty clear that he doesn't care. He says, one person thinks one day is more holy than others. Other people think all days are the same. I don't really care, he says. Whatever you do, do it unto God. Some of you can block off a Sunday and have it be a day of rest. If you can do that, that's a beautiful thing. Some of you can't. Some people who are not here because they are working. And they don't have much control over that. But you can find time for Sabbath. And what I want to encourage you to do, if you have no Sabbath practice right now, I want you to find 3 hours. That's enough time that you can really do something that will be restful. Now, if you can block off a whole day, that's wonderful and great, but let's be honest, probably most of us are okay. Find 3 hours. Find a practice that is good for your soul. I like woodworking. Don't go in my garage right now. My woodworking stuff is covered in children's toys that need to be repaired. There's a pile of scooters and three-wheelers and bicycles that I have to kind of maneuver around. That's a restful activity to me, but it's one that has gotten literally underneath the pile. How are we going to make that time? How are you going to make that time? So, your two challenges then are first to consider what gives rest to your soul, and second to consider when are you going to do that. And that's between you and God, because I don't sit down with your plan. Let's be in prayer.